Revealed. My parents unexpectedly gave my apartment to my brother, a life-changing truth exposed. Sarah sat on the edge of her bed, shock waves of betrayal cutting through her like a winter chill. The text from her mom had been abrupt, nearly mocking in its simplicity. "We've transferred your apartment to Jake." Tears pricked her eyes, struggling against disbelief and overwhelming rage as her thoughts spiraled into chaos. How could they abandon her like this? This apartment, a haven she fought for, was the last remnant of safety she shared with Lily, her spirited 8-year-old daughter. It was supposed to be their fortress, a symbol of the American dream she poured her heart into. But in one heartless message, everything she fought to build shattered. At work, the sterile smell of antiseptic mingled with the hum of machines as Sarah moved between patients, her mind a cluttered maze of emotions. Encouraging smiles faded as she recalled the golden child mentality that enveloped Jake since childhood. He could do no wrong in her parents' eyes while she, the responsible one, worked non-stop to keep the family afloat. It was supposed to be her home, a place of warmth where Lily's laughter echoed. Instead, the walls felt icy, like living inside a crumbling dream. "Mom, why would you do this?" she choked out during their next phone conversation. The conversation was like a knife twisting inside her. "He can't keep it together. He doesn't even try. Sarah, you need to understand. He has family too. Things are changing." Changing? The world around her was shifting, turning into a confusing landscape where she felt alone and scared. Her parents had chosen Jake, and that rejection felt like needles against her skin. Just when she thought her heart couldn't bear more, news broke through Maplewood, igniting her senses. The local hospital, her lifeline, faced severe funding cuts. Layoffs loomed, threatening everything she cherished. Suddenly, something jolted within her. This was her chance not just to save her job, but to reclaim her strength. Rallying the community felt like the greatest act of defiance against the darkness that clouded her family life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With determination ignited, Sarah approached her neighbors one by one, recalling old friendships and forging new ones. People rallied around her, voices swelling with hope. It was an empowering whirlwind, reminding her of her own strength and resilience. Yet amid the spark of community, Jake's recent decisions loomed heavy like dark clouds gathering above. He made mistakes, reckless choices, and life seemed to spiral from bad to worse for him. The family gatherings became tense battlegrounds, thick with unspoken words and disappointment. As the town hall meeting approached, Sarah's heart raced. She had to be the voice for the hospital, for the community. But then came a cryptic text from Jake, unsettling and ominous, hinting at buried family secrets tied to their childhood home. Questions swirled, and suddenly, everything she knew felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter. Would this revelation alter the course of her fight? Would she claim the justice she craved or forgive the brother who had already taken away so much? The stakes felt impossibly high. Stepping up to speak, her world hung in a delicate balance. What choice would she make when all seemed lost? The town hall buzzed with anxiety as Sarah entered. Bodies were packed shoulder to shoulder, people wearing expressions of uncertainty. The air was thick, a blend of murmurs and rustling paper. She gripped the folder in her hands tightly, her palms sweaty as she made her way to the front. This wasn't just about the hospital anymore. It was about her, a fight that felt existential. She could feel Jake's presence from across the room, the tension between them palpable. He was leaning against a wall, arms crossed, his eyes scanning the crowd, not unlike a hawk searching for prey. Her stomach tied itself in knots. This was her brother, the one who held her childhood dreams in a chokehold. The very brother now occupying the space she fought to make her own. When the meeting stirred to life, Sarah sensed her chance arriving, a flame reigniting within her. The mayor opened with a grim update about the funding cuts. Disappointment echoed through the crowd, murmurs of despair mixing with gestured hands. Sweat trickled down her back as she raised her hand to speak. To her surprise, the room went quiet, a hush descending like a blanket, forcing her heart to beat louder in her chest. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steadier than she felt, "we can't let this happen. The hospital isn't just a building. It's our heartbeat, and it's worth fighting for." She spotted her neighbor Mrs. Thompson nodding, the elderly woman's face lined with worry turned into unity. "We each have a story, one where our family relied on the care received here." As her words flowed, she felt power surge through her. Every tale shared resonated deeply, the lives saved, the warmth from nurses' smiles, and the compassionate hands that eased suffering. The room came alive with shouts of agreement, people chanting, "Save the hospital." Sarah felt the swell of hope, washing away some of the bitterness festering inside her. Among the crowd, she felt a flicker of connection even with Jake. But then his voice cut through the air, slicing her confidence in two. "Sarah, you don't understand. Not everyone's story should matter the same. Mom and Dad think I should take charge. I've handled things before, haven't I?" His confidence rang hollow, the memories of his reckless past surfacing uninvited. It felt like betrayal wrapped in sibling bravado. "I know you think that, Jake, but this isn't about who should be in charge. It's about life and death." Her breath quickened, emotions swelling like an unwieldy tide. "You can't just walk in and assume someone else's place. Not after everything you've done." A gasp rippled through the crowd, faces wide-eyed with both surprise and intrigue. The energy shifted, a tension-filled silence punctuated by Sarah's punctuated breaths. He stepped forward, his expression flickering between anger and hurt. "You act like I don't care about family, but this is bigger than you and me, is it?" she countered, her voice shaking from the weight of unresolved pain and anger. "Is it really bigger than the people in this community?" As the words hung in the air, a crack began to form in her confidence. Families depended on them both, and yet here they were fighting, tearing away at each other. Sarah's fight wasn't just against a budget cut. It felt like a battle for the very soul of her family. Images of Lily flashed in her mind, the little girl with endless dreams of becoming a doctor. What would this do to her? In that moment, the weight of expectation threatened to crash down on her. Suddenly, another text chimed in her pocket. She brought it out, her eyes widening as she read the cryptic message Jake had sent her earlier. It wasn't just about the apartment. It was about the past, a truth that could change everything. "I'll tell you the truth that Mom and Dad have hidden from us. But in return, you have to listen." Jake's voice dropped, the challenge hanging between them. Would she dare confront the secrets entwined in their family's history? Or would it tear them apart even more? As the room buzzed with anticipation, Sarah felt a storm brewing within, a vital choice locked behind her lips. Sarah's eyes flickered between the packed crowd and Jake, uncertainty etched on her face. The bees buzzing in her stomach intensified. People were hanging on every word, the air thick with their anticipation but fraught with her growing dread. "Jake, now is not the time," she whispered vehemently, trying to keep her composure. The truth, she was terrified of it. Maybe it was better left uncovered. He stepped even closer, his voice low but firm. "You know we can't ignore this. Mom and Dad chose to keep it from us for far too long. Don't you want to know why?" The room faded into the background, and all she could do was focus on her brother. As furious as she felt, there was an unspoken history hanging between them, a slender string fraying with each heated word they exchanged. Her heart clenched. What could loom so heavily in the past? "Why should I trust you?" Her voice wavered, thick with fear and disappointment. "Every time you've tried to take control, things fell apart. Because this is bigger than me. Bigger than any of us." He looked desperate, the lines around his eyes deepening. "You don't have to fight me. I don't want to be your enemy." The room held its breath, caught in their tug of war. Her palms were slick with perspiration as she gripped the folder, knuckles white. If you care so much, then why did you let Mom and Dad decide everything for us? The rawness of her question caught in her throat. Churning memories of family arguments and moments of division tore at her. Tensions buzzed around them like electric currents ready to explode. They thought they were protecting us. Jake shot back, frustration spilling into his voice. But maybe they're just trying to keep their own regrets hidden. This hospital, our home, it's representative of so much more. We can either face it together or keep allowing others to dictate our lives. Thoughts raced through Sarah's mind, linking back to Lily, her little sister with dreamy eyes, and those aspirations that once linked them all. She took a deep breath, feeling the crowd's eyes shifting onto them like a spotlight. Perhaps Jake was right. Maybe denying the truth meant sacrificing what was left of their family bonds. I don't care whose voice is louder, she stated, her voice more resolute. What I care about is protecting this town and our family from further hurt. Then trust me, Jake said, desperation filtering into his tone. Let me tell you the truth. Not just for us, but for everyone who looks to us for strength. You might be surprised by what you find. With a glance, Sarah locked eyes with him. The faintest flicker of a challenge ignited between them. It was a fragile truce, but an important one. The crowd around them hung on the edge of their seats, each face mirroring a spectrum of emotions. Confusion, concern, hope. Fine. She relented, practically choking on the word. Tell me, let us hear it. His breath hitched just for a moment, but then he nodded, determination lighting his eyes. Just like that, the air cracked with anticipation. After Mom and Dad got the news about the cuts, he began. But his voice faltered for a moment, making her heart race anew. She could see the worry in his expression, the fear of vulnerability clawing at him. Just then, Mrs. Thompson raised an eyebrow, a worried expression melting into intrigue. This isn't just about funding anymore, is it? No, it's bigger than that, Jake replied, his voice regaining strength. It's about what our parents did before he could continue. The unexpected sound of the door flying open sent a ripple of shock through the crowd. Everyone turned, tension slicing again over the room. A stranger stepped into the hall, their presence commanding but unaware of the vital tempest brewing. Sarah's heart nearly stopped as she noticed the disheveled look on the newcomer's face. What could they bring to this already emotionally charged moment? Jake and Sarah shared a look, recognizing the urgency of their situation and the truth that still loomed heavily in the air. Would this newcomer uncover layers they were both unprepared for? With every beat of her heart, the questions compounded. What revelations awaited them now? And would the truth, once unearthed, draw them together or tear them apart all over again? The newcomer, an older man with a wild mane of graying hair, stepped forward, scanning the room with piercing blue eyes. He was out of breath, as if he had run straight from the chaos of the streets. The crowd murmured, sensing his urgency. He looked lost and yet painfully aware, as if he held a scroll of secrets in his pocket just waiting to be unrolled. Please, he panted, his face flushed. I need to speak. It's about the hospital and your parents. Who are you? Sarah interrupted, feeling the wild pulse of adrenaline constricting her throat. What do you know? I know more than you can imagine, he replied, a grimace shadowing his features. I'm a friend, or I was. Their past ties to this place aren't just a footnote. We can't ignore it any longer. Jake stepped forward, his earlier determination resurfacing. What did you mean when you said it's about our parents? What do you know? His voice seemed to echo through the hushed crowd. I knew them long before you were born, the man replied, his gaze drifting to the old photographs lining the walls, snapshots of happier days now clouded under the weight of unspoken history. They had ambitions once, a vision for this hospital, your home. But when the stakes got high, he hesitated, glancing back at Sarah and Jake, seeing the tension rise in their eyes. Changed them, changed everything. What do you mean by that? Sarah pressed, heart hammering against her ribs. All the doubts she'd held about her family now rumbled beneath the surface. They made a decision, he answered, and it tore them apart. They thought they were protecting you, but all they did was bury the truth. A wave of sensation rippled through the crowd. Whispers floated aimlessly, each murmur a small quake beneath the tension. Jake's jaw tightened, something unbreakable clicking into place. "Just tell us," he urged, his voice rising. "What did they do?" The man drew in a deep breath as if preparing to recite a painful truth. "They took funds that didn't belong to them. It was meant to cover medical supplies to keep the operations going. But they funneled it, tried to protect themselves from financial ruin." The confession hung in the air like a thick fog, everyone struggling to digest it. Sarah felt her world tilt, an inward scream threatening to burst forth. The hospital, their home, tainted by the very hands her parents had used to build it. She turned to Jake, her emotions swirling dangerously. "Is this true?" "I don't know," Jake admitted, his voice breaking. "But it feels like it could be. Why don't you ask them?" The stranger's eyes pierced through the skepticism. "They deserve to be confronted about it, even if it tears you apart. You deserve the truth. You both do." As the weight of his words sunk in, Sarah's stomach coiled tightly. Would daring to confront her parents lead them to healing, or would it expose scars they had tried so hard to protect? Suddenly, the door creaked open again, abruptly drawing everyone's attention. The figure that entered sent shockwaves through the room. It was their mother, flanked by their father, both wearied and visibly shaken. Questions raced through Sarah's mind. How long had they been listening? Jake's expression turned to stone, fury and pain mingling in his eyes. "Mom, Dad, we need to talk," he called out, voice steady despite the chaos churning in his heart. Sarah swallowed hard, every instinct telling her to retreat. Yet she stayed rooted. This was at the moment she had dreaded, the truth coming like a freight train. Would they shy away, deny everything, or would they finally lay it all on the table? As the air buzzed around them, another question lingered, sharper than the rest. Were their parents ready to confront the ghosts of their past, or would it force another rift in their family? "Jake," Sarah, their mother, began, her voice frail but firm. Her eyes darted between the crowd and her children, searching for a glimmer of understanding. "We weren't expecting to see you like this." "Cut the pretense, Mom," Jake snapped, taking a step forward. "We know about the funds. We need answers. Now." The room fell into a hush, the air thick with anticipation. Their father shifted, his usually steady demeanor flickering like a candle in the wind. We can explain," he stammered, but the weight of his words hung dangerously above them all, like a storm ready to break. Sarah felt the anger surge within her. "Explain what? How you took money meant for patients? How could you do that?" Her voice trembled with a mixture of hurt and rage. "You've built our lives on lies." Her father raised a hand, searching for calm. "It was never about greed, Sarah. It was about survival. The hospital was crumbling, and we panicked. We didn't want you to suffer the consequences. By robbing those who actually needed it." Jake shot back, his voice laced with disbelief. "Did you even think about us? Did you consider how this would affect our lives, our trust?" Their mother stepped closer, her expression crumpling with every word. We thought making some hard choices would keep the dream alive. We wanted to protect you." Tears glimmered in her eyes, but there was a desperation in the way she clung to her rationale. "Your father worked tirelessly, that's no excuse," Sarah interjected, her heart racing. She could see the fear flickering behind her mother's facade, the fear of losing everything. The older man watched quietly, a lingering sadness on his face. "Sometimes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions," he murmured, his voice barely audible. Jake glanced at Sarah, their shared frustration palpable. "We're standing here because we want to heal. But how do we move forward when the trust is shattered?" "Tell us the truth then," Sarah demanded. "What else are you hiding?" Their mother swallowed hard, her throat constricted. "We had to make a deal with people you'll never understand. We were scared, Jake. If we didn't do it, the hospital would have closed. Your future, our lives would have crumbled." A moment of silence enveloped them, heavy and draining. Jake and Sarah exchanged glances, each grappling with a wave of emotions that churned like a tempest. "Does it even matter anymore?" Jake murmured, Do we even want this place if it's built on something so rotten? Sarah glanced back at the pictures hanging on the walls, memories of childhood laughter and warmth now tainted by betrayal. Did you ever consider telling us? Letting us be a part of the decision? The pain written across their parents' faces felt insurmountable. They fought to protect, but in doing so had shackled their children with the weight of hidden truths. We wanted to spare you, their father whispered finally, his voice breaking. We didn't want you to see us as weak. In that moment, a realization hit Sarah hard. The hospital wasn't just a building. It was the essence of their family, a thread woven through their lives. And now that thread was fraying, threatening to unravel everything. But before she could answer, the door swung open again, interrupting them all. Another gasp echoed through the room as a newcomer stepped in, someone they hadn't expected, someone from their past. Is this where the real conversation is happening? The voice called out, laced with familiarity and a hint of disaster. Sarah's heart raced. Who was this person, and how would their presence change everything again? The looming question hung in the air. Could this new arrival hold answers, or would it plunge them deeper into chaos? The figure in the doorway was casting a long shadow both literally and figuratively. As the lights reflected off glossy floors, Sarah recognized the face that had haunted her dreams. A face that felt both familiar and foreign. It was Tyler, her estranged brother, the one who had pulled away from the family years ago, leaving a chasm that had never healed. Tyler? Jake's voice trembled. It was disbelief mixed with longing. What are you doing here? Nice to see you too, Jake, Tyler replied, his eyes scanning the room before landing assertively on their parents. I got a call about some major family drama. Thought I'd check it out. Their mother gasped, pressing a hand to her mouth. You shouldn't be here. Not now. Her voice was threadbare, a whisper of panic. But I am, Tyler said coolly. And it seems like the walls are closing in on all of you. Sarah felt her heartbeat echo in her ears. Why was he here now? Did he know something? A glimmer of hope sparked and extinguished almost immediately. If he had answers, would they really be the ones she wanted? Why did you come back? Jake challenged, stepping forward, his fists clenched. You've been gone for so long, all of this could have been different if you were around. Tyler met his brother's gaze with an unyielding resolve. I had my reasons. But right now, it's about the hospital and what you all are trying to hold together. He nodded towards their parents. Did you ever think that maybe the money wasn't the deepest of the wounds? Stop dodging the question. Sarah shouted, her voice breaking. You know something, don't you? For a moment, Tyler hesitated. His facade cracked. I know things you don't. Things that could change everything. Jake's anger simmered at the surface. Then spill it. We're tired of secrets. With an exhale, Tyler began to speak. But their mother interrupted him, panic rising. You can't. You don't know what you're doing. But Jake and Sarah stood their ground. They needed to hear him out. No, Mom. We need the truth. Whatever it is, we need it now, Sarah demanded. The tension in the room was palpable, each second stretching as if they held their breath. Tyler finally pushed through. The deal, it wasn't just about saving the hospital. It was a desperate gamble. You see, there are people who aren't just interested in finances, they want control, power, and they're circling back now more hungry than before. What does that mean? Jake pressed, stepping closer, the fire of determination igniting in his eyes. Tyler's expression darkened. It means Mom and Dad made promises, and now, they're being called in. You all could lose more than you realize, including this supposed stability. The reality of his words hit them like a wave, crashing against the fragile structure they had been trying to hold together. Could their parents' missteps lead to something even more catastrophic? Is that why you left? Sarah questioned, her heart squeezing at the thought of their brother in turmoil. You knew it was coming? Part of me did. I thought staying away would spare you, he replied, his voice lowered, almost breaking. But I was wrong. We're family, and we face this together now. As silence fell, the emotional tension began to dissolve, replaced by a collective query. What did it mean to face it together? Did they have enough power left to change the outcome? Tyler, Jake finally said, If there's any chance to save the hospital, to save our family, you need to tell us everything. Just as Tyler was about to respond, the lights flickered around them, and a loud crash was heard from the back of the room, causing them all to jump. What now? Someone murmured. A new wave of uncertainty pressed in, blending with the secrets that were begging to surface. What other shadows lurked in the corners of their lives? What other truths lay hidden in the depths, waiting to be uncovered? The noise came again, a sharp crack that drew all eyes toward the back of the room. The flickering lights cast erratic shadows, heightening the tension that hung thick in the air. Stay here, Jake urged as he moved toward the noise, his heart racing. Tyler followed closely, shadows of the past intertwining with the urgency of the present. Sarah remained frozen, torn between fear and the desperate craving for answers. As they reached the doorway leading to the rear of the hospital, a frail figure emerged from the gloom. It was Mr. Johnson, the hospital's board member. His face was pale, eyes wide with panic. "What's going on?" Tyler asked, steadying him with a hand on the shoulder. "I overheard there's something you all have to know," Mr. Johnson stammered, his voice trembling. "I was just trying to protect everyone." "Protect us from what?" Jake pressed, his impatience simmering just below the surface. "They're planning to take control, just as Tyler said," Mr. Johnson whispered, looking over his shoulder as if the walls themselves had ears. "But it's worse than that. They have plans that could dismantle everything your parents built here." "What do you mean?" Sarah interjected, now stepping closer, needing clarity amidst the chaos. "The debt, it was only the surface," Mr. Johnson continued, and everybody leaned in, the weight of his words pulling them closer together. "There's an investor who sees the hospital as a prime opportunity to buy the property for a commercial project. The board isn't just struggling to save it. They're being forced to choose between their safety and the hospital's future." A knot tightened in Sarah's stomach. "And our parents? They're at the center of it. They made promises, yes, but they also took risks you all don't know about," Mr. Johnson said, voice shaking. "Now the stakes are even higher. They could lose their home and maybe even more." Tyler's fist clenched at his side. "How long have they been keeping this from us?" "For months. They thought they could manage it without burdening you. Thought that they could protect you from it," Mr. Johnson said, his voice growing solemn. "But now it's escalated. The deal is not just about the hospital anymore. It's about their safety, your stability, everything." Jake turned to Sarah, the realization crashing down on them. They did this to protect us, but it could destroy everything. A sudden chill swept through the air, and with it came a wave of uncertainty. "What do we do now?" Tyler asked. "First, we confront them," Sarah suggested, taking a deep breath. "We can't afford more secrets. We have to face this head-on." As they turned to leave, the lights flickered again. When they reached the main area, their parents stood there, expressions shadowed with worry, as if they had heard every word exchanged. "Mom, Dad, can we talk?" Sarah started, her voice steady yet filled with a tremor of anticipation. "We need to know everything," Jake added, a fire igniting in his brotherly gaze. Their father's eyes darted around the room, and Sarah could feel the weight of his silence. Would they finally disclose the truth, or would they bury it deeper? Suddenly, the door swung open, and an imposing figure stepped inside, a briefcase in hand, flanked by two men in sharp suits. The atmosphere turned electric, heavy with an impending storm. "Is this the family?" the figure asked, his voice cold. "I have business to discuss." What had just walked into their lives? And had they run out of time to save what cherished pieces remained? The stranger stepped forward, his suit tailored to perfection, as though he had stepped right out of a corporate magazine. The click of his polished shoes echoed ominously in the silence, the uncertainty hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Sarah's heart raced, a mixture of dread and curiosity flooding through her. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, stepping protectively in front of Sarah and Tyler. The tension thickened, wrapping around them like a vice. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "My name is Mr. Reed. I represent the investors who are interested in the property and, unfortunately, your little hospital here." He glanced at them, as if measuring the weight of their potential cooperation. We have serious concerns about its financial security. Tyler's hands balled into fists. You're talking about our home, about everything our parents have worked for. Mr. Reed shrugged, dismissing the emotional weight of their words. Risk and reward. It's business. He snapped open his briefcase, revealing documents and colorful graphs that seemed to pulse with urgency. But that's why I'm here. I'd like to propose a solution. Solution? Sarah's voice trembled, her fear tightening around her throat. How can this be a solution? He leaned in, speaking deliberately, his tone soft but dripping with insincerity. This town is changing. We can offer a generous sum to the board in exchange for a swift sale. Most of the hospital staff will keep their jobs. A few, well, they might need to adapt to a different future. Their parents stood frozen, exchanging uneasy glances. Sarah could feel the ground shift beneath her, and suddenly she wanted to scream, to lash out at the stark reality laid bare before them. What jobs? What future? Jake's voice broke the tension, raw with emotion. Our parents built this place. They dedicated their lives to helping people, and you want to tear it apart for a profit? You think we'll let that happen? Mr. Reed straightened, studying them with an unsettling calm. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to offer a choice. This is the reality. They need an exit strategy, and you all are standing in the way. He pointed at their parents. The longer you resist, the worse it will get for them. A hospital is just a building. You have to think about what's best for your family. No, Sarah gasped, clenching her fists. If there ever was a moment that brought the fear of loss crashing down like thunder, this was it. You can't just waltz in and tell us to give everything up. We're not afraid of your threats. Mr. Reed chuckled softly, unfazed by their resistance. Then I suggest you gather your thoughts. You have until the end of the week. After that, my proposal or something else will be firmly on the table. With that, he gathered his documents and nodded to his associates. As they turned and walked towards the door, Sarah felt the room shift again as a wave of emotion surged through her. Anger spiked, mixed with the icy fingers of fear curling around her heart. Wait, Tyler shouted, rushing forward. But the door swung shut behind the men, sealing in the silence that followed. What are we going to do? Tyler's voice cracked, the weight of uncertainty pressing down hard. Sarah felt her throat tighten. We have to find a way to fight this. We can't let them win. Jake nodded, tension in his jaw. We owe it to Mom, Dad, to this hospital. We have to get to the bottom of why they were willing to risk everything. But just as they turned back to their parents, a chilling thought struck Sarah like lightning. What if it isn't just about the hospital? What if they're hiding something bigger from us? The silence echoed, thick with possibilities that loomed like clouds ready to burst. Would facing their parents unveil truths that could change everything? And what had their parents really been willing to sacrifice to protect them? The air in the room thickened, an unsettling silence enveloping them. Sarah glanced at her parents, searching their faces for answers, but all she saw was the weight of secrets they carried. The hospital had always been more than just a building. It was a part of their lives, stitched together with memories and sacrifices. What do you mean? Jake's voice trembled, breaking through the silence. What could be bigger than our home? Their mom, usually a pillar of strength, seemed to shrink under their stares. There's something we've been meaning to tell you, she whispered, her voice barely audible. The hesitation in her tone made Sarah's heart race. Whatever it is, we can handle it, Tyler urged, turning to his parents, his youthful optimism shining through the shadow of doubt. Just tell us. Their dad looked at the ground, guilt lining his features. Things haven't been easy for the hospital or for us. We tried to shield you both. We thought if you didn't know, maybe it wouldn't hurt you. Dad, just say it. Sarah pressed, an undercurrent of fear racing through her veins. With a deep breath that seemed to fill the room with anguish, their mom finally spoke. This hospital, it's facing a crisis. We have debts. Serious debts. We thought we could manage it, but Mr. Reed is right. This is not just business for us. It's life or death for our future. The air shifted with the weight of their mom's admission. Sarah's chest felt tight. The fear morphed into something heavier dread. Is that why you've been working late? Why you seem so distant? She felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. You were trying to protect us. But now it feels like everything is falling apart. Their dad remained silent, his eyes filled with regret. We wanted to keep this place running. We put everything we have into it. But if we don't sell, there might not be a hospital at all. We might lose everything. Tyler stepped back, grappling with the revelation. So what now? Are we really just supposed to hand over our home to that man? His anger surged, a desperate need for clarity. Their mom wiped her eyes, a flicker of determination lighting up her expression. No, we can't let it come to that. There has to be another way. We just have to think of something. A spark ignited inside Sarah. What if we started speaking to the community? What if we showed them what this place means? If we raise awareness about our situation, maybe others will support us. She could feel the wave of hope starting to push through the fear. It needed to start somewhere. Jake nodded, catching on to her momentum. If we rally everyone, maybe we can come together, find a way to save the hospital. But their mom's expression darkened again. It's not that simple. Mr. Reed has investors backing him. The pressure will only intensify. Sarah's heart sank, but she pushed through, clenching her fists tighter. The fear of losing their home hardened into resolve. We have to fight no matter the odds. We can't let this man control our fate. As they exchanged determined glances, a new energy filled the room. They would not give up easily. What would the community think if they united? They'd have to act fast and strategically. But just as they began to discuss a plan, the phone rang, slicing through the air like a knife. Their parents exchanged worried looks, and Sarah's apprehension skyrocketed. Who could be calling now? Are you going to answer it? Tyler asked, his eyes darting toward the phone. Yeah, their mom replied hesitantly. Maybe it's the board. Sarah's stomach twisted. What if it was more bad news? As she watched her mom pick up the receiver, the uncertainty washed over the room again. Would their lives change with this call? Would this be the moment that could either bring hope or despair? The tension clung to them as they awaited the words that could alter everything. The call echoed through the room, amplifying the weight of anticipation. Their mother placed the receiver down slowly. It was the board, she said, her voice trembling, layered with both fear and uncertainty. They want an urgent meeting. A pit formed in Sarah's stomach. Urgent? What does that mean? Her father sighed heavily, the burdens of the world etched deep into his features. It means we have to confront the reality that's been simmering beneath the surface. They're giving us an ultimatum. Jake stepped forward, fists clenched in determination. We don't have time for fear. We need to prepare together. This is our family, our future. We can't let them walk all over us. Jake is right, Sarah added, a surge of courage rushing through her. If we want to save the hospital, we have to be united. We have to rally support now with our neighbors, our friends. This place means too much to just sit by and watch others take it away. Their mother nodded, wiping her tears with trembling fingers. But how do we even start? Awareness, Sarah said firmly. Let us organize a community meeting. If people see the reality that this isn't just a financial issue, but a lifeline for everyone, they'll stand with us. We can show them what's at stake. I can design flyers and put them around the neighborhood. Jake chimed in, the fire of resolve igniting within him. We can gather stories, support from everyone who's been treated here. They need to know how important this place really is. Tyler leaned closer, his energy shifting from hesitation to a tangible sense of purpose. Let us spread the word. Social media can be powerful. If we dive into this together, we can create a movement. Hope fluttered in the air, a fragile but palpable feeling. They were coming together, lighting a fire against the looming darkness. With renewed determination, they each took on tasks, dividing responsibilities as they formulated a plan. Sarah rushed to find her laptop, while Jake and Tyler started drafting flyers. Their parents, moved by their passion, joined in, sharing stories from their years in the hospital, moments of kindness, hope, and healing. Days passed, and the excitement spread like wildfire through Maplewood. Familiar faces showed up, sharing their experiences, stories of lives saved, laughter shared, and tears shed amid uncertainty. Each tale was a thread, weaving together the emotions that connected the community. On the night of their planned meeting, the local hall was packed. Sarah stood at the front, heart racing but anchored by the sight of her friends, neighbors, and family. The buzz of anxiety filled the air, but also glimmered with hope. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steady despite the torrent of emotions swirling inside her. "This hospital isn't just a building. It's where families like yours have been cared for, where friendships have been formed, and where each of us has found support during our most vulnerable moments." Applause thundered through the crowd, charging her even more. She looked at her family beside her, their pride evident as they exchanged encouraging glances. Tyler stepped forward, sharing his own story of how the hospital saved their sister in a near-fatal accident years before. "We almost lost her, but this place fought for her life. We owe it to every single person who continues to walk through these doors." His words resonated, igniting a wave of emotions within the audience. Stories flooded the floor, intertwining experiences that echoed back to the heartfelt moments fostered by the hospital. Sarah felt the energy shift. Their community was awakening, sparking a fire within them that had long been dormant. "I want us to keep fighting for our past, present, and future," Sarah said, voice triumphant. "Let's stand together. No one has to face this alone." The crowd erupted in cheers, a chorus of determination and promise to protect their shared legacy. But even as the energy swelled, shadows of uncertainty still lingered. Aside from saving the hospital, they had to confront their parents and their mishaps. Just as light from their shared endeavor began to shine, Sarah turned her eyes toward Jake, Tyler, and their parents, each revelation and hardship still lurking beneath the surface. "Mom, Dad, we need to face the facts, our mistakes, before this gets truly out of control. This hospital isn't just about income. It's about integrity and rebuilding our family bond," she said. Their parents nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The winds of change gusting through the room were fierce yet hopeful. When they finally returned home, the atmosphere shifted with newfound understanding. The bond between them all had strengthened through shared trials, and together they resolved to face not just the community of Maplewood, but the reckless decisions of the past, hand in hand. As dusk fell, they gathered around the dinner table, an illuminating symbol of their unity. They shared laughter, stories of their day, and the resilient spark of hope. "Together, we'll rebuild what's broken," Sarah said quietly, her heart swelling with courage and faith in their newfound strength. Through the darkness of secrets and hurt, hope emerged like the first light of dawn, brighter than before. They would reclaim their future one step at a time, and they would do it together. In that moment, as they laughed and shared, the weight of the past began to dissolve, lost to the warmth of their combined dreams and the promise of tomorrow. And they would remember one truth above all. Family isn't just blood, it's the courage to face the truth and the strength to rise once again. Now, you need to take action. Subscribe immediately to our channel, so you don't miss our next exclusive stories packed with heart and life-changing moments. Leave a like now to help spread this message about the power of unity and hope across the platform. It makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear how this story impacted you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to spread the word of courage and resilience. Don't wait not even one more second. Show your support and join the movement now.